My name is Min Ji-hoon, and let me tell you something about hitting rock bottom. It's not a gradual slide. It's a sudden, brutal impact that leaves you wondering how you ended up face down on cold pavement with the taste of blood in your mouth. Hey! Hey! You think you can just walk away after bringing us this garbage? The drunk college student's voice cut through the soul night like a rusty blade. I should have seen this coming. 3 guys, clearly wasted, ordering late-night chicken to some sketchy alley behind Hongdae clubs. But when you're desperate enough to take any delivery job, red flags start looking like opportunities. Please, I stammered, my voice already defeated before the conversation started. The order total is 28,001. I just need... The first punch caught me in the stomach. Not hard enough to do real damage, but enough to double me over and send my dignity crashing to the ground along with my body. This chicken is cold, you useless piece of shit. The leader, some rich kid with designer clothes and an attitude that screamed daddy's money, grabbed the delivery bag from my hands. And you want us to pay for this? I watched in horror as he dumped the entire order onto the dirty alley ground. 40,001 worth of food, my commission, my gas money, my dinner for the next 3 days, scattered across broken concrete and cigarette butts. I'm sorry, I whispered, because that's what I always did. Apologize. Even when it wasn't my fault. Even when they were clearly in the wrong. I can get you a fresh order. The second guy kicked my scooter over. The metallic crash echoed through the alley as my livelihood, such as it was, toppled sideways, spilling insulation bags and condiment packets everywhere. The headlight flickered once and died, like it was giving up too. Fucking pathetic, the third one laughed. Look at this guy. Can't even stand up for himself. They were right, and that was the worst part. As I knelt there picking up scattered chicken pieces with shaking hands, I couldn't even argue. This was the 3rd time this month. 3 times. At this rate, I'd be paying customers to take food from me. The kids walked away, laughing and taking photos of me on their phones, probably posting it to social media with captions like, "Look at this loser delivery guy," or, "When you order food and get entertainment too." I sat there for 20 minutes after they left, just staring at the ruined food. 24 years old, and this was my life. Getting beaten up by drunk teenagers who probably spent more on one night out than I made in a month. The ride home was a blur of Seoul's neon lights reflecting off my cracked helmet visor. My scooter wheezed and stuttered, adding insult to injury. Even my transportation was giving up on me. My home was a rooftop room in Nowon, the kind of place that existed in that gray area between legal and condemned. 40 square feet of peeling wallpaper, a bed that doubled as a desk, and a window that leaked when it rained. Which it was starting to do. Drip, drip, drip. I placed my usual collection of pots and pans under the worst spots, then collapsed onto my bed and pulled out my phone. 17 missed calls from my boss. 17. I could already hear his voice. "Ji-hoona, what happened to the Hongdae order? The customers are complaining. This is unacceptable." Unacceptable. Yeah, my entire existence was pretty unacceptable at this point. I opened my wallet and counted my remaining cash. 12,001. 12,001 to last until my next paycheck, assuming I still had a job tomorrow. I opened my convenience store ramen, the 901 kind that tasted like salted cardboard, and tried not to think about the fact that this was my 4th day in a row eating the exact same meal. My phone buzzed. Minjong. "Alpa? Are you okay? You sound tired lately." My younger sister's voice always carried that worried tone when she talked to me. She worked at some fancy marketing firm in Gangnam, lived in a proper apartment, ate real food. Everything I should have been doing at 24. "I'm fine," I lied. The same lie I'd been telling her for months. Just busy with work. Mom's hospital bills came in again. The insurance didn't cover as much as we hoped. It's another 500,001 this month. 500,001. More money than I'd see in the next 2 months, assuming I could keep my job and avoid getting beaten up by customers. I'll figure something out, I said, knowing it was another lie. Don't worry about it. Ji-hoon, you don't have to. I said I'll handle it. I hung up before she could hear my voice crack, because that's what big brothers do, right? They handle things. They protect their family. They don't get kicked around by drunk college kids and come home to leaking rooms and instant ramen. The next morning brought 17 missed calls, a termination text from my boss, and a not ice from my landlord about overdue rent. Rock Bottom, it turns out, has a basement. That's when I found myself in that sketchy electronics repair shop in Hongdae, the same district where I'd been humiliated 12 hours earlier. The irony wasn't lost on me. "Excuse me," I called to the shop owner, a grizzled old man bent over a circuit board. "Someone left their phone here." The device sat on his counter like it was waiting for me. Expensive looking, maybe an iPhone, but the screen was cracked and it looked like it had been through hell. He barely looked up. "Been sitting there 2 weeks. No one's claimed it. You want it? Better than letting it collect dust." My current phone was held together with electrical tape and died at 20% battery. This felt wrong, like stealing, but desperate people make desperate choices. That night, I tried factory resetting the device. Instead, I somehow triggered an app installation. Installing Demon Eats, interdimensional delivery service. Installation source, unknown. Warning, this app requires unusual permissions. Interdimensional? I muttered. What kind of pretentious food delivery app name is that? But when you're unemployed and facing eviction, you don't question gift horses, or gift phones, or gift apps with ridiculous names. Ding. Demon Eats successfully installed. Welcome, new contractor. Special notice. This service operates under Interdimensional Commerce Treaty number 4427. By accepting orders, you acknowledge risks including but not limited to dimensional displacement, currency fluctuation, and supernatural customer interaction. Supernatural customer interaction? I laughed bitterly. After yesterday, drunk college kids qualify as supernatural. Then I saw the first order. New order received. Customer, Demon Lord Baal. Address, basement level, 666, Netherworld Plaza. Order 1, X fried chicken, extra spicy. Payment, 50 soul crystals. New contractor bonus. First successful delivery earns 10x payment. I stared at the screen. Basement level 6666? Soul crystals? This had to be some elaborate prank. Rich kids messing with delivery drivers for social media content. But then I saw the 10x payment bonus. Even if soul crystals were worth nothing, even if this was completely fake, I had literally nothing left to lose. This is insane, I whispered to my empty room. But insane was all I had left. The GPS led me to an abandoned subway entrance that looked like something from urban exploration videos, the kind of place salarymen cross the street to avoid. With my thermal bag slung over my shoulder, I descended into darkness, counting each step, 100, 200, 300. The stairs kept going, deeper than any subway system should go. My phone's flashlight barely cut through the blackness, but somehow the GPS still showed I was on the right path. At step 300 and something, I saw a faint red glow ahead. The narrow stairway opened into something impossible, a cavern so vast I couldn't see the ceiling, filled with buildings that seemed to generate their own light. Obsidian towers stretched upward, connected by floating platforms where creatures that definitely weren't human walked like this was completely normal. "What the hell?" I breathed. "You smell like upper realm," a voice said behind me. I spun around to face a 7-foot-tall creature with ram horns and glowing orange eyes. My first instinct was to run. My second was to faint. But somehow, I just stood there, thermal bag clutched to my chest like a shield. Are you the sustenance bringer? He asked, sniffing the air around me. This was it. This was where I died. Eaten by some demon thing because I was stupid enough to follow a fake delivery app into an abandoned subway tunnel. But instead of eating me, he pointed down a glowing red path. Follow that to the obsidian tower. Lord B. Al has been waiting. I walked through streets filled with creatures from nightmares and fairy tales, past shops selling things I couldn't identify, through districts that defied physics, and somehow, impossibly, I wasn't terrified anymore. Maybe it was because this situation was so far beyond normal that my usual anxiety didn't know how to activate. Maybe it was because I literally had nothing left to lose. Or maybe, for the first time in my pathetic life, I was exactly where I was supposed to be. 2 weeks after my first descent into literal hell, I was sitting in a bank office in Gangnam, sweating through my only clean shirt while trying to explain to a suspicious manager why I'd suddenly deposited 500,000 won in cash. So you're saying this money came from international freelance delivery work? Manager Kim peered at me over his glasses like I was a particularly interesting species of criminal. Yes, sir, specialty foods for unique clientele. I dabbed my forehead with a tissue. Import-export type situation. The fraud alert on my account had triggered when Lord Bale's payment hit. Apparently, when you go from having 12,001 to having 500,000 overnight, the banking system gets curious. And your clients pay in cash? They prefer traditional payment methods. Cultural thing. It wasn't technically a lie. Soul crystals converting to Korean won through some impossible app mechanism was definitely a cultural thing, just not a human cultural thing. After 3 hours of paperwork and suspicious looks, Manager Kim finally cleared my account, but his parting words stuck with me. Mr. Min, we'll be monitoring your transactions closely. Large cash deposits require documentation. I walked out of that bank, realizing that success came with its own problems. Money was great, but unexplainable money was dangerous. Hyung, you're different. Minjong's observation came during our weekly dinner, though we'd upgraded from the 3001 kimbap place to somewhere that actually had real meat in their dishes. I was sitting straighter, she said, speaking more clearly, looking people in the eye. She wasn't wrong. Yesterday, a drunk salaryman had tried to stiff me on a regular soul delivery. 3 weeks ago, I would have apologized and walked away with nothing. Instead, I'd looked him dead in the eye and said, "Pay the full amount, or I'm taking the food back." He'd paid immediately. Something had changed in me during that first trip to the demon realm. When you've presented fried chicken to a 12-foot demon lord and lived to tell about it, drunk salarymen lose their intimidation factor. I got a better route, I told her, which was true in the most impossible way imaginable. Better customers. They actually appreciate good service. Ding. New order. Demon General Asmodeus. Order. Mixed Korean BBQ platter. Payment. 300 soul crystals. Special request. Customer seeks cultural education regarding human dining customs. I excused myself to take the order. General Asmodeus lived in what I'd learned was called the military district, a section of the demon realm that looked like ancient Rome had been rebuilt with modern tactical precision. The general was smaller than Lord Ball, maybe 8 feet tall, but he carried himself with the precise bearing of someone who'd spent centuries commanding armies. His obsidian skin was marked with scars that probably told stories I couldn't imagine. Deliverer Ji-hoon, he greeted me with formal respect that still felt surreal. Lord Ball speaks highly of your cultural knowledge. I unpacked the BBQ carefully, arranging the banchan side dishes in their traditional presentation. In Korean culture, we don't just serve one main dish. These side dishes, kimchi, pie, pickled radish, bean sprouts, they're designed to complement and balance the main flavors. His golden eyes lit up with genuine fascination. Tactical nutrition. Each element serves a specific function in the overall strategy. I Never thought of it that way, but yes, exactly. We spent 20 minutes discussing the philosophy of Korean dining, how shared dishes promote social bonding, how banchan variety ensures nutritional balance, how the communal aspect differs from individual meal traditions. Remarkable, Asmodeus said finally. Your people have developed sophisticated cultural strategies around sustenance. This knowledge has strategic value. Ding. Cultural exchange. Bonus, plus 50 under XP. New achievement, interdimensional ambassador. As I prepared to leave, his expression grew serious. Deliverer, a word of caution. Your success in our realm has not gone unnoticed. There are political considerations. What do you mean? Demon society is complex. We have trade guilds, noble houses, factional interests that have existed for millennia. Your presence represents change, and change always creates winners and losers. His words proved prophetic over the following weeks. I started receiving strange orders, deliveries to addresses that led to dangerous parts of the demon realm, customers who seemed more interested in testing my reactions than enjoying the food, subtle questions about my true purpose and hidden agenda. The reality was disappointingly mundane. I was a human delivery driver who'd stumbled into interdimensional commerce through desperation and luck, but apparently that was unusual enough to be suspicious. Everything changed the night Duchess Andromalius placed her order. Ding. Special event order, Demon Duchess Andromalius. Order, formal dinner for 12, diplomatic meeting. Payment, 2,000 soul crystals. Warning, high-stakes social event. Success may impact reputation significantly. 2,000 soul crystals meant 2,000,001, more than I'd made in my entire previous year of delivery work. But the warning made it clear this wasn't just about money. I spent 3 days researching demon dietary restrictions, which turned out to be surprisingly complex. Fire demons needed high mineral content, but couldn't process dairy. Ice demons required temperature-specific preparation, but were sensitive to certain spices. Shadow demons absorbed flavor differently than other types. This wasn't delivery anymore. This was catering. This was diplomacy. The Duchess's estate existed in what I'd learned was called the Noble Quarter, architecture that somehow managed to be both beautiful and intimidating. When she greeted me at the door, I understood why she held such a high position in demon society. Mortal Overlord, she said, using a title I'd never heard before. Your reputation precedes you. Just Jihoon is fine, I replied, though I noticed her 12 guests, all clearly powerful demons, were watching our interaction with intense interest. Modesty, she smiled, revealing elegant fangs. How refreshingly mortal. The dinner became a masterclass in cultural exchange. Each course sparked discussions about human society, philosophy, and the implications of interdimensional contact. The demons weren't just eating, they were analyzing, learning, forming opinions about humanity based on our food. This kimchi, observed a scholarly demon with intricate horn patterns. The fermentation process represents patience and planning. Your people think in terms of extended time investments. The bulgogi preparation suggests precision and attention to detail, added what I recognized as a military strategist. Efficiency combined with aesthetic consideration. By the end of the evening, I had 6 new regular customers and invitations to cater 3 more formal events. But more importantly, I realized something that would have terrified the old me. I was genuinely enjoying this. Ding. Major achievement. Successful diplomatic catering. Experience gained, 1,000 XP. Level up, level 8, level 12. New title, Interdimensional Cultural Ambassador. During the after-dinner conversation, the scholarly demon posed a question that stopped me cold. Young mortal, are you an anomaly or a harbinger? What do you mean? Your success proves that beneficial contact between our realms is possible, but it also suggests that such contact requires special individuals. Are you unique, or do you represent the potential for broader interdimensional relations? I looked around the table at 12 powerful beings who were treating me as an equal, not because of magic or supernatural power, but because of hard work, cultural sensitivity, and the determination to turn my greatest weakness into my greatest strength. I said slowly, I'm exactly what both realms needed, arriving exactly when we needed it. Ding. New quest line unlocked. Interdimensional relations development. Warning. This path will fundamentally alter your role and responsibilities. Accept? YN. I stared at the notification, understanding that this choice would change everything. I could continue as a successful delivery driver, making good money and living comfortably. Or I could embrace something larger, becoming a bridge between worlds, accepting responsibility for the future of interdimensional relations. 3 months ago, I was getting beaten up by drunk college students. Now I was making decisions that could affect the relationship between entire dimensions. I selected why. Because for the first time in my life, I was exactly where I was supposed to be, doing exactly what I was meant to do, and I wasn't running away from responsibility anymore. I was running toward it. We need to talk. Duchess Andromelius's voice carried an edge I'd never heard before as she gestured me into her private study. The room felt different tonight, darker, more oppressive. Even the floating candles seemed dimmer than usual. I set down my delivery bag and took the seat across from her massive obsidian desk. 3 months of regular deliveries had made me comfortable in demon spaces, but something about her expression triggered my old anxiety responses. There's been developments, she began, her elegant fingers drumming against the desk surface. Your success has created ripples throughout our political structure, not all of them favorable. What kind of ripples? The Merchants Guild of the Sixth Circle has filed formal complaints about unauthorized interdimensional commerce. The noble houses of the Third and Seventh Circles consider your rapid rise in status inappropriate for a mortal. Her golden eyes fixed on mine. And the conservative faction believes your presence threatens millennium-old traditions. My stomach dropped. I'd been so focused on growing my business and satisfying customers that I'd ignored the bigger picture. In my world, success was celebrated. Apparently, in the demon realm, success could get you killed. How serious is this? Serious enough that formal challenges have been mentioned. She stood and walked to the window overlooking the noble quarter. In demon society, when someone's legitimacy is questioned, they must prove their worth through formal trial. Trial? Combat? Displays of power? Political maneuvering? Traditional methods for establishing dominance. She turned back to me. None of which are your strengths. True. I was still fundamentally a human delivery driver who'd gotten exceptionally good at interdimensional customer service. I couldn't breathe fire, command armies, or reshape reality with a thought. However, Duchess Andromelius continued, there is precedent for proving worthiness through exceptional service to the community. Such as? The Conclave of Shadows convenes next month. 3,000 demons from all 9 circles will gather for the most important political event in our calendar. Her smile was sharp as her fangs. If someone could successfully provide sustenance for the entire gathering. 3,000 demons. My largest catering event had been for 50 guests, and that had nearly killed me with stress. That's impossible. Perhaps, but it's also your only chance. Her expression softened slightly. The alternative is facing Lord Malphus of the Fifth Circle in formal challenge. I'd heard of Lord Malphus, ancient, powerful, and notoriously traditional. He represented everything that opposed change in demon society. Ding, major threat detected, Lord Malphus. Challenge protocol initiated. Time limit, 30 days. Success condition, prove worthiness through service. Failure, consequence, permanent exile, complete ability loss. The app had never shown failure consequences before. Permanent exile meant losing everything: my income, my abilities, my relationships. Complete ability loss meant becoming ordinary again, returning to the pathetic existence I'd escaped. I'll do it. Duchess Andromalius looked surprised. Jihoon, the scale of this undertaking. I understand the risks. I stood, feeling something I'd never experienced before: absolute determination mixed with strategic thinking. But I also understand something Lord Malphus doesn't. I'm not just a delivery driver anymore. Ding, quest accepted. Cater the conclave of shadows. Difficulty, legendary. Advanced systems unlocked. New temporary abilities. Large-scale event management. Crisis coordination. The next 3 weeks became a masterclass in organized chaos. My first move was expanding my operation beyond anything I'd previously imagined. I hired 20 additional staff members, not just delivery drivers, but logistics coordinators, customer service specialists, and quality control managers. My rooftop room became useless. I rented a proper warehouse in Gangbuk and filled it with industrial-grade equipment. Hyung, Park Minho, my new operations manager, stared at the planning board covering an entire wall. This looks like we're preparing for war. We are, I replied, marking delivery routes on a map of Seoul. A war against impossibility. My enhanced physical conditioning ability had evolved significantly. I could work 18-hour days without exhaustion, processing hundreds of variables simultaneously. My advanced logistics management let me coordinate supply chains that would have overwhelmed normal human cognition. But Taite. Real breakthrough came when I stopped thinking like a small business owner and started thinking like a diplomat. Each meal isn't just food, I explained to my expanded team during our daily briefing. It's a cultural statement. We're representing humanity to 3,000 of the most powerful beings in another dimension. I designed 12 different regional Korean menus, each targeting specific aspects of human culture. Street food for accessibility and democratic values. Royal court cuisine for sophistication and refinement. Fusion dishes to demonstrate innovation and adaptability. Traditional preparations to show respect for heritage and continuity. My regular customers became my intelligence network. Fire demons require intense mineral content, General Asmodeus explained during one of our strategy sessions. But ice demons find high heat physically painful. You'll need separate preparation areas with temperature controls. Shadow Realm nobles appreciate presentation as much as flavor, Lord Baal added. Consider each plate a work of art that tells a story about human creativity. The scholarly circles will want to understand the cultural significance of each dish, contributed the academic demon I'd met at Duchess Andromalius's dinner. Prepare brief explanations about regional history, cooking techniques, and social customs. This collaborative approach revealed how much my relationships had evolved. These weren't just customers anymore. They were advisors, allies, friends who were genuinely invested in my success. The most complex challenge was logistics coordination across 2 dimensions. I needed to ensure fresh ingredients could be transported from Seoul restaurants to Demon Realm venues within specific time windows while maintaining quality standards for dietary requirements ranging from requires live prey to photosynthetic energy only. I established contracts with 6 major Seoul restaurants, essentially buying out their entire production capacity for the event weekend. My warehouse became a staging area where human-prepared dishes would be portaled to Demon Realm distribution points through the interdimensional delivery network. Sir, my newest logistics coordinator, Kim Yuna, approached me with a thick folder of permits and documentation. The Seoul Health Department is asking questions about our sudden expansion in food handling capacity. Another political complication I hadn't anticipated. Success in one realm was creating scrutiny in another. Tell them we're catering a large private event for international clients, foreign cultural celebration requiring traditional Korean cuisine. I signed another stack of vendor agreements. Not technically a lie. The night before the conclave, I stood in my expanded operations center, surrounded by 30 staff members and enough equipment to feed a small army. Industrial refrigeration units hummed alongside packaging stations where hundreds of thermal containers waited for deployment. My phone displayed statistics that would have been impossible 6 months ago. Level 18, active abilities, enhanced physical conditioning, advanced logistics management, crisis coordination, cultural ambassador, large-scale event management, current status, preparing for legendary difficulty event, staff, 30 humans, 12 Demon Realm coordinators, supply chain, 6 restaurants, 47 vendors, 3 interdimensional distribution points. Ji-hoon-si, Park Min-ho approached with the final preparation checklist. Everything's ready. 3,000 individual orders, customized to specific dietary requirements and cultural preferences. If this works, it'll work, I said, surprising myself with how confident I sounded. 6 months ago, I couldn't handle drunk college students. Tomorrow, I'm catering for interdimensional nobility. But beneath the confidence was a core of terror I couldn't quite shake. This wasn't just about business success anymore. If I failed tomorrow, I'd lose everything. My abilities, my income, my purpose, my relationships. I'd return to being Min Ji-hoon, the worst delivery driver in Seoul, except now I'd also be the guy who'd briefly touched something extraordinary and lost it all. Ding. Final preparation phase complete. Event begins. In 8 hours, all systems, operational, message from system. You have exceeded all projections for human interdimensional commerce development. Tomorrow you either make history or become a cautionary tale. Good luck, Overlord. The app had never called me Overlord before. As I looked around my operations center, at the staff who'd committed to this impossible mission, at the equipment that represented months of careful expansion, at the detailed plans that had consumed my every waking moment, I realized something fundamental had changed. I wasn't just fighting for my business anymore. I was fighting for proof that humans could contribute something valuable to interdimensional society. I was fighting for the right to exist in spaces that had never welcomed mortals before. Tomorrow, in the Abyssal Coliseum, I would either validate everything I'd built or watch it all crumble under the weight of impossible expectations. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't running from that pressure. I was embracing it. The Abyssal Coliseum was a monument to impossibility. Standing at its entrance at dawn, I watched 3,000 demons from all 9 circles take their seats in a structure so massive it generated its own weather patterns. Storm clouds swirled around the upper tiers, while the arena floor basked in an unnatural crimson glow. Magnificent, isn't it? Duchess Andromalius appeared beside me, her formal conclave robes making her look even more regal than usual. This gathering happens once every 50 years. You're witnessing something most mortals never dream of. I surveyed the venue through eyes that had learned to see logistics challenges instead of just spectacle. The Colosseum was divided into environmental zones. Ice demon sections that radiated cold even from this distance, flame demon areas where the air shimmered with heat, shadow realm boxes that seemed to absorb light itself. Different atmospheric requirements, I murmured, mentally adjusting delivery routes. We'll need specialized thermal containers for temperature-sensitive zones and light-proof packaging for Shadow Realm orders. She smiled. You've changed, Ji-hoon. 6 months ago, you would have been overwhelmed by the grandeur. Now you're calculating solutions. She was right. The old Min Ji-hoon would have been paralyzed by the sheer impossibility of this task. The new version was already processing variables, identifying potential problems, and formulating backup plans. Ding. Event status, Conclave of Shadows, active. Participants, 3,000 demon nobility from all 9 circles, service window, 6 hours, legendary performance mode, available, activate, YN. I hesitated for a moment, then selected Y. The transformation was immediate and overwhelming. My awareness expanded exponentially, processing hundreds of variables simultaneously. I could sense the location of every demon in the Colosseum, understand their dietary needs instinctively, and coordinate my entire operation through pure intuition. Every ability I'd gained over the past months focused into perfect harmony. Enhanced physical conditioning. Let me move through the chaos with supernatural efficiency. Advanced logistics management turned complex coordination into elegant simplicity. Social confidence allowed me to command respect from beings who could level mountains. Team leaders report, I spoke into my headset, my voice carrying an authority I'd never possessed before. Seoul base operational. Soain's Park Minho's voice crackled through. All restaurants at full production capacity. First wave of orders ready for portal transfer. Demon Realm distribution point secured, reported my interdimensional coordinator. Environmental controls active for all specialized zones. Quality assurance teams in position, added Kim Yuna. Every order verified for dietary restrictions and cultural preferences. The service began. For the next 6 hours, I orchestrated the most complex food operation ever attempted across 2 dimensions. 3,000 individual orders, each customized to specific requirements that ranged from mundane to impossible. The flame demon nobility received spicy dishes prepared at temperatures that would have hospitalized humans, served in containers that wouldn't melt in their hellish environment. Ice demon lords got frozen delicacies that maintained perfect crystalline structure, even in the Colosseum's varied temperatures. Shadow Realm aristocrats received meals that told stories through flavor, each bite designed to evoke specific emotions and memories, served with cultural explanations printed on light-absorbing parchment. But the real challenge came from the unexpected complications. Sir, Kim Yuna's urgent voice cut through my headset. Ice Demon Section 7 reports the kimchi is too spicy. They're requesting alternatives immediately. Without missing a beat, I coordinated with my soul base to prepare mild alternatives while personally delivering apologetic explanations to the affected demons. Rather than seeing this as a failure, they seemed impressed by the immediate response. Remarkable adaptability, observed a frost-scaled demon lord as I presented his custom-prepared mild bulgogi. Your people understand that true service means anticipating needs, not just fulfilling orders. Food is communication, I replied, surprising myself with the philosophical insight. When we get it wrong, we listen and adjust. That's how relationships grow. Ding, cultural exchange. Bonus, Plow 100 XP, reputation boost. Ice Demon. Noble houses. Similar crisis management played out across the venue. Scholarly circles requesting more information about dish origins got impromptu cultural lectures. Supply chain disruptions got solved through real-time logistics adjustments. Individual preference changes were accommodated with impossible speed and precision. I moved through the chaos like a conductor directing a symphony, every gesture coordinated with perfect timing. My staff, both human and demon, responded to my commands with military efficiency. "This is impossible," I heard one demon whisper to another. No single individual could coordinate this level of complexity. "Unless," his companion replied, "they're exactly what they appear to be. A bridge between worlds, possessing abilities neither realm has seen before." The breakthrough moment came during dessert service when Lord Malphus himself appeared at my coordination station. I'd been expecting this confrontation for weeks, the ancient demon who'd challenged my legitimacy, who represented everything threatening about my presence in the demon realm. He stood nearly 15 feet tall, with obsidian skin marked by scars from countless battles and golden eyes that held millennia of accumulated wisdom and prejudice. Mortal, his voice carried the weight of ages. I came here expecting to witness failure. I continued coordinating dessert distribution while meeting his gaze steadily. "Lord Malphus, I hope you're enjoying the cultural exchange. I believed your rapid rise was unearned. That mortal presence in our realm was destabilizing, dangerous." He gestured at the smooth operations surrounding us. "I was prepared. to use your inevitable failure to justify removing you permanently. Around us, the final dessert course was being delivered with clockwork precision. 30 staff members moved in perfect coordination, 3,000 demons were receiving exactly what they'd ordered, and the most complex interdimensional catering operation in history was succeeding beyond all reasonable expectations. And now? I asked. Now I see an individual who has earned every bit of respect he's received. His expression shifted from skeptical to genuinely impressed. This level of organization, cultural sensitivity, and pure competence, it rivals the greatest achievements of our own nobility. Ding! Major achievement. Enemy converted to ally. Lord Malphus respect level, maximum, political opposition, neutralized. As the final dessert was delivered and the last customer satisfaction survey came back positive, the impossibility of what we'd accomplished began to sink in. 100% satisfaction rating across 3,000 diverse customers. Not a single complaint, delay, or dietary mistake. The mathematical improbability of this achievement sent ripples through the demon realm's political structure. The First Circle Lord, the most powerful being in demon society, stood and addressed the entire Colosseum. Let it be recorded throughout all 9 circles that the mortal Jihoon has achieved something unprecedented in our history. Through service, dedication, and exceptional competence, he has not merely proven his worthiness, he has redefined our understanding of what worthiness means. The entire Colosseum erupted in approval that shook the foundations of the underworld itself. This wasn't polite acknowledgement. It was genuine celebration from beings who rarely agreed on anything. Ding, event completed. Conclave of shadows. Legendary success. Perfect execution. Achievement unlocked. Experience gained. 50,000 XP. Level up. Level 18. Level 30. New title. Master of Interdimensional Commerce. Special status. Recognized nobility. All 9 circles. Lord Malphus approached me as the celebration continued around us, extending his hand in formal recognition. I formally withdraw my challenge and offer my deepest apologies, he said, his ancient voice carrying genuine respect. Your presence doesn't threaten our realm, it strengthens it. You have shown us possibilities we never imagined. As I shook hands with the demon who'd wanted to destroy me, I realized something profound had occurred. I hadn't just survived a challenge, I'd transformed opposition into alliance through pure competence and cultural bridge building. Thank you, Lord Malphus, I replied. I hope this is the beginning of greater cooperation between our realms. Ding, ultimate achievement. From challenger to champion, political status, unassailable, new opportunities unlocked. Angel realm, dragon dimension, elemental planes, standing in that ancient Colosseum, surrounded by cheering demons who now treated me as one of their own, I reflected on the impossible journey that had brought me here. 6 months ago, I was getting beaten up by drunk college students, living in a leaking room, eating convenience store ramen for days at a time. Now I was recognized nobility in another dimension. Master of interdimensional commerce, and living proof that humans could contribute something valuable to the greater multiverse. And I'd earned every bit of it through hard work, cultural sensitivity, and the determination to turn my greatest weakness, my desperate need to please customers, into my greatest strength. The app displayed one final message. Congratulations, Overlord. You have exceeded all projections. For human interdimensional development, what seemed impossible has become inevitable. The question now is, what will you do with unlimited possibilities? I smiled, already planning my expansion into new realms. After all, angels and dragons had to eat something, right? The worst delivery driver in Seoul had become the most successful interdimensional entrepreneur in existence. And this was just the beginning. My morning routine now began at 5 a.m. with a briefing that would have seemed impossible 6 months ago. Seoul Operations Report. I spoke into my headset while reviewing overnight order statistics on multiple monitors. My new headquarters, a proper office building in Gangnam, not a leaking rooftop room, hummed with activity even at dawn. Overnight orders processed, 847 deliveries across all Demon Realm districts, Park Minho reported from the operations floor below. Revenue, 12.3 million won, 0 complaints, 2 commendations for exceptional cultural presentation. I nodded, checking my bank account balance, 47 million won and climbing daily. Numbers that would have been fantasy 6 months ago were now just Tuesday's earnings. Interdimensional coordination status. All portal connections stable, Kim Yuna added from her station. Demon Realm distribution centers report 99.7% satisfaction ratings. The Ice Demon Nobles specifically requested your personal thanks for the customized winter solstice menu. 30 employees now depended on my decisions. Dozens of Seoul restaurants had restructured their operations around my orders. An entire interdimensional commerce network existed because I'd once been desperate enough to deliver chicken to a demon lord. Ding. Daily Operations Summary. Level 30. Master of Interdimensional Commerce. Active employees. 30 humans. 47 Demon Realm Coordinators. Daily revenue. 15 million won. Customer satisfaction. 99.8% across all realms. Jihoon Oppa. This place is incredible. Minjong stood in my office doorway, looking around at the monitoring stations, interdimensional communication arrays, and strategic planning boards that covered the walls. Our weekly dinners had evolved too, from cheap kimbap places to proper restaurants where we could talk without worrying about the cost. You said you were in import-export, she continued, settling into the visitor chair that cost more than my old monthly rent. But this looks like you're running some kind of international corporation. Something like that, I smiled. The description wasn't entirely untrue anymore. Specialty foods for very exclusive clientele. Mom's medical bills came back from the insurance, she said, pulling out an envelope. Completely covered. They said there was an anonymous payment that handled everything. I'd quietly arranged for our mother's treatment through a shell company. After months of watching my family worry about money I could now handle without thinking, anonymity seemed like the kindest approach. That's wonderful news. Oppa, her expression grew serious. What happened to you? 6 months ago you were Getty, nung beaten up by drunk customers. Now you're... She gestured at the bustling operations floor. Whatever this is. Before I could answer, my communication array chimed with an incoming priority message. Dieng, formal invitation, noble recognition ceremony, Demon Realm, Grand Amphitheater, First Circle. Purpose, official acknowledgement of achieved noble status, attendees, 500 plus demon nobility, political representatives from all 9 circles. I need to take this, I told Minjong apologetically. Important client meeting. The ceremony took place in the Grand Amphitheater of the First Circle, a structure so magnificent it redefined my understanding of architecture. 500 demons I'd served over the past months created a receiving line of gratitude and respect that stretched across the crystalline floor. Overlord Jihoon. Each demon greeted me formally, using the title that had become standard in their realm. Your service honors our house. Your cultural bridge building strengthens our society. Your dedication exceeds our highest expectations. The formal ceremony combined traditional demon honors with adaptations for my human nature. Where demon nobles would typically receive marks of elemental power, I was presented with symbols representing cultural understanding, crystallized essence of human creativity, fragments of interdimensional harmony, tokens of bridge-walking achievement. This is unprecedented, Duchess Andromalius whispered as the First Circle Lord prepared to speak. No mortal has ever received formal noble recognition from all 9 circles simultaneously. The First Circle Lord's address resonated through the amphitheater. Let it be recorded that Jihoon of the human realm has achieved what we deemed impossible, becoming not merely accepted, but essential to our society's growth and understanding. Ding! Achievement. universal noble recognition, status, nobility, all 9 circles of demon realm, new abilities, diplomatic immunity, cultural authority, interdimensional respect. But the real revelation came during the post-ceremony reception, when academic demons presented their cultural impact research. Your presence has fundamentally altered our society, explained the lead researcher, displaying charts that tracked changes across demon culture. Human language learning programs have increased by 400%. Philosophical discussions about interdimensional relations now comprise 30% of our academic discourse. Cultural exchange has become a legitimate field of study. I stared at the data, realizing I'd become more than a successful merchant. I was a cultural bridge whose influence was reshaping an entire civilization's worldview. This extends beyond commerce, another academic added. You've proven that meaningful cooperation between realms is possible. You've changed how we think about ourselves in relation to other dimensions. That evening, as I reviewed the ceremony's significance, my communication array activated with a notification that would change everything again. Ding, new realm access unlocked. Angel realm incoming contact. Seraph Communications Division. Message: your demon realm success has been observed with great interest. We wish to discuss potential cooperation. Angel realm contact. I'd known this was possible, buds. Facing the reality felt overwhelming. Angels represented perfect moral balance, spiritual purity, dietary requirements that would make demon complexities seem simple. Initial communications revealed challenges that pushed my abilities to new limits. Angels required purely light-based nutrition, foods that enhanced spiritual energy while maintaining perfect moral balance. Every ingredient needed ethical sourcing verification. Every preparation method required spiritual blessing protocols. But they also offered opportunities that demon commerce couldn't provide. Access to celestial materials, spiritual enhancement services, diplomatic connections with other divine realms. Ding, Angel Realm. Preliminary contract available. Difficulty, legendary. Requirements: perfect moral standards, spiritual preparation, divine approval, rewards, access to celestial commerce networks. Then came the Dragon Contact. Dragon Dimension representatives made contact through official demon channels, since dragons and demons had maintained diplomatic relations for millennia. But dragons operated on geological timescales. Their appetites spanned centuries. Their contracts involved territorial agreements that could reshape entire dimensions. Young Bridgewalker, the Dragon Ambassador's communication rumbled through reality itself. Your reputation for reliability and cultural sensitivity intrigues us. We offer partnership opportunities involving rare minerals, magical artifact exchanges, and territorial agreements that transcend conventional commerce. My evening planning sessions now required interdimensional atlases, cultural sensitivity guides for multiple species, and supply chain logistics that spanned planes of existence. My decision-making process had evolved from, "Can I afford this?" to, "How does this serve the greater good of interdimensional relations?" Ding, multi-realm operations established. Current status, master of 2 worlds, expanding to 4. Next phase, full interdimensional integration. Standing in my headquarters that night, surrounded by monitoring stations tracking operations across multiple dimensions, I reflected on the transformation that had brought me here. 6 months ago, I was the worst delivery driver in Seoul, getting beaten up by drunk college students, eating convenience store ramen in a leaking room. Now I was recognized nobility in the demon realm, with pending contracts in the angel and dragon dimensions, managing operations that influenced multiple civilizations. And somehow, impossibly, I was ready for the next challenge. Because I'd learned something crucial during this journey. Success wasn't about avoiding difficulty. It was about embracing increasingly complex challenges with the confidence that comes from proven competence. Ding, achievement, master of 2 worlds, complete. Next phase, overlord of all dimensions, destiny, unlimited. The worst delivery driver in Seoul was becoming something the multiverse had never seen before, and this was still just the beginning. The title ceremony took place in the grand amphitheater of the First Circle, but this time it wasn't just demons in attendance. Angel observers sat in sections that glowed with divine light, their perfect forms creating harmony that made even demon lords seem peaceful. Dragon ambassadors occupied massive platforms designed to accommodate beings whose smallest forms were still larger than buildings. Represent it. Lives from elemental planes, shadow realms, and dimensions. I was still learning to name filled seats that seemed to multiply as needed. This is unprecedented, Duchess Andromalius whispered as we waited for the ceremony to begin. Never in recorded history have all these realms gathered for a single individual's recognition. I stood in ceremonial robes that somehow combined traditions from multiple dimensions: demon obsidian threading, angel light weaving, dragon scale accents, and human craftsmanship. The result was something entirely new, like the role I'd grown into. Representatives of all realms, the First Circle Lord's voice resonated through space itself. We gather to formally recognize Min Ji-hoon of the human realm as the first Overlord of interdimensional commerce, a position created to acknowledge achievements that transcend traditional boundaries. Ding! Ultimate title. Acquired. Overlord of interdimensional commerce. Authority. Recognized across all contacted realms. Status. Founder of new diplomatic position. Abilities. All enhanced to maximum. The ceremony continued with formal recognition from each realm. Angels blessed my commitment to ethical commerce. Dragons acknowledged my reliability across geological timescales. Elemental representatives confirmed my environmental awareness. Each recognition added layers to my authority that I was still learning to understand. My daily briefings now required three-dimensional holographic displays to track operations across multiple realms simultaneously. Seoul operations processing 2,847 orders daily, Park Minho reported from his expanded coordination center. Demon Realm Logistics handling 1,200 deliveries across all 9 circles. Angel Realm preliminary contracts show 400% satisfaction with spiritual enhancement cuisine. The numbers would have been incomprehensible 6 months ago. My operation now employed over 200 people across multiple dimensions, processed revenues that exceeded small nations' GDP, and influenced the cultural development of entire civilizations. Economic impact reports. I called up the next briefing section. Financial analysts, both human and demonic, had been tracking my operation's effects on interdimensional economics. Seoul restaurants had expanded production by 300% to meet my orders. Demon Realm agriculture had adapted to export demon-grown ingredients to humans for fusion cuisine. Currency exchange rates between realms had stabilized around my commerce activities, but the most significant changes were cultural. Your influence has created what we're calling the Ji-hoon effect, explained Dr. Park from Seoul National University's newly established Interdimensional Studies Department. Increased interest in otherworldly cultures, language learning programs for non-human languages, and philosophical discussions about humanity's place in a larger multiverse. Similar reports came from Demon Realm academies, angel scholarly circles, and dragon knowledge keepers. My success had proven that humans possessed unique adaptability and cultural bridge-building capabilities that other species valued highly. Mom, this is incredible. Minjong stood in my new Seoul headquarters, a 40-story building that served as the human realm hub for interdimensional commerce. Our mother, now fully recovered thanks to Angel Realm healing services, looked around with wonder at the bustling operation. To think this all started because you found a broken phone, she said, shaking her head in amazement. The phone. I still carried it, though the Demon Eats app had evolved into something approaching interdimensional government. My role had grown beyond personal success to become something like a cosmic responsibility. Ding, ancient prophecy fulfillment alert. Multiple realms report prophecies regarding Bridgewalker, who would unite dimensions. Confirmation, you are fulfilling prophetic destinies across 7 different dimensional prophecy systems, ancient prophecies. I'd become the subject of predictions that predated human civilization. Demon scrolls mentioned a mortal bridge builder who would bring harmony through service. Angel texts described a humble servant who would unite realms through understanding. Dragon prophecies spoke of a small being with great heart who would create new paths between worlds. The responsibility felt overwhelming, but I'd learned something crucial. The best way to handle impossible responsibility was to break it down into manageable service objectives. Sir, my new head of human resources approached with a thick folder. We've identified 17 individuals with potential interdimensional compatibility. Psychological profiles suggest they possess the adaptability and service orientation required for realm-crossing commerce. Training new bridge builders had become necessary as operations expanded beyond what I could personally manage. The process required specific psychological and emotional qualities, humility combined with determination, service orientation without subservience, cultural adaptability without losing personal identity. Start with basic customer service training, I instructed. If they can handle difficult human customers with grace and problem-solving focus, they might be ready for interdimensional challenges. Ding, new initiative, Interdimensional Commerce Academy. Purpose, training next generation of bridge builders. Impact, expansion of human presence across multiple realms. The culmination of my journey came with the formation of the Council of Realms, an official interdimensional commerce and diplomatic body with me as primary human representative. Angel Realm provided ethical oversight, ensuring all commerce maintained moral balance. Demon Realm contributed political structure and conflict resolution mechanisms. Dragon Dimension offered magical enhancement and long-term strategic planning. Human Realm supplied adaptability, innovation, and cultural bridge-building expertise. This represents a new age of inter-realm cooperation, announced the Council's founding charter. Trade routes, cultural exchange, and diplomatic relations designed to prevent conflicts through mutual understanding and economic interdependence. My final personal delivery was symbolic, a meal that represented culinary fusion of all realms I now served, delivered to my original customer, Lord Bale. The dish combined human creativity, demon intensity, angel purity, and dragon complexity in ways that shouldn't have been possible, but somehow achieved perfect harmony. Each bite told the story of my journey from failed delivery driver to interdimensional overlord. You have exceeded even my greatest expectations, old friend, Lord Bal said after tasting the impossible fusion cuisine. When I first ordered that chicken, I hoped for interesting flavor. I never imagined I was ordering a complete transformation of interdimensional relations. Neither did I admitted. I was just desperate enough to deliver food to anyone who would pay. And that desperation became determination, which became competence, which became leadership. He smiled, his obsidian teeth no longer seeming threatening but warmly familiar. You've shown us that the greatest achievements often come from the humblest beginnings. Ding, final achievement, complete transformation, legendary status, from worst delivery driver in Seoul to Overlord of interdimensional commerce, impact, founder of new age of inter-realm cooperation. As I prepared to leave Lord Bale's tower for the final time as a personal delivery driver, my phone chimed with notifications I'd been expecting. Ding, multiple realm alert. Interdimensional commerce, expanding. New bridge walker. Phones activating across dimensions. Your legacy. Template for interdimensional cooperation. Status. Founder complete. New generation beginning. Across multiple realms, other phones were lighting up with delivery apps. Other desperate individuals were receiving impossible orders. Other potential bridge builders were taking their first steps into interdimensional commerce. I had become the founder of something larger than personal success, a new model for how different dimensions could interact, learn from each other, and build mutual prosperity through service and understanding. Standing in the demon realm where my transformation had begun, I reflected on the journey that had brought me here. Every humiliation, every failure, every moment of desperation had been necessary preparation for challenges I couldn't have imagined. The worst delivery driver in Seoul had become the most successful interdimensional entrepreneur in existence, but more importantly, I'd become proof that anyone could rise to meet impossible challenges if they were willing to serve others with genuine dedication and cultural humility. Ding Overlord status, complete, interdimensional legacy, established, next generation, activated, achievement unlocked, changed the multiverse. Through food delivery, the phone that had started everything displayed one final message. Congratulations, Overlord, from desperate delivery driver to interdimensional legend. Your story proves that the greatest journeys begin with a single order, a single chance, and the courage to serve others even when everything seems impossible. The multiverse is better because you were hungry enough, desperate enough, and ultimately brave enough to deliver chicken to a demon lord. I smiled, pocketing the phone, and walked toward the portal that would take me back to Seoul, back to my empire, my family, my impossible life that had somehow become possible through determination, service, and the discovery that even the worst delivery driver in Seoul could become exactly what the entire multiverse needed. After all, everyone has to eat something, right? This broke delivery driver just became the bridge between worlds through pure determination and customer service. Which realm would you want to do business with? Demons, angels, or dragons? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more stories where the weak become legendary.